Welcome, folks. I'm Jaby Koay, joined by ACHARA KIRK.
What's up?
This is going to be a very, very, very brief discussion of Lightyear. We just watched it, and we want to give our honest thoughts and feelings about the film. I liked it. I thought it was a lot of fun. As someone who has watched all the Toy Story films ever since they came out, as a big, big fan of Toy Story, I thought this was actually a really, really cool solo film for Lightyear. I was initially a little bit frustrated at the trailers, at like no inclusion of Woody or anything. Like, this is just its own deviation. But after having watched it, I'm like, I see the validity of this, and I think it's a fun film. It's a fun solo Lightyear film.
They explain the premise right at the top, and you're like, oh, okay, I get it now. And so it explains everything that you had issues with in the trailer originally. But yeah, like you, I thought it was really fun. It was so delightful. It kind of has all of those tropes that you're used to seeing in a Disney Pixar film. Like, it's about finding yourself. It's about friendship. All of that good stuff. So if you're into that, if you've enjoyed Disney Pixar films in the past, I think you're going to have a real blast watching this.
Yeah, there's a lot of fun moments throughout, a lot of ha-has and whatnot. I do have issues with the movie, but I don't know if I can really go into them. It has a lot to do with Buzz Lightyear himself. Some stuff near the beginning that I didn't like, that I would have appreciated more. There were instances where I felt like my energy kind of waning in the movie. It's just like, okay, I'm not sure why. It might have been that I was just tired going into the film, but there were certain moments where I was like, okay, I'm not sure how long this adventure is going to go on for. And I think what that had to do with is the fact that the film doesn't spend a heck of a lot of time in space. For it being a space ranger, most of it actually takes place on land. And that was one of my other disappointments with the film. That was the second thing I was going to mention. Outside of those two things, I feel like it checks off all the boxes that I'd wanted to hit in a movie like this. While I can still register all the Sid Field plot structure stuff, screenplay stuff that, you know, are typical with rules of screenwriting that Pixar and Disney tend to follow actually very stringently, because they're dealing with animations that are quite complicated to make, spanning, you know, potentially years. They have to have a strict regimen of how this story is structured.
Yeah.
While I could see all that, I still found myself getting lost in the adventure and falling in love with the characters in the film. And I think that's the most important thing, is that the fact that they were able to create and craft characters that you could enjoy and find to be not just fun to be around, but relatable.
And there was still that classic Pixar moment that made me cry. Like, I don't think I've ever gone to a single Pixar movie and I didn't cry. So there was still that like emotional engagement, and it was really touching and beautiful. I have to say, my favorite character in the whole movie was Socks the cat. That's probably kind of obvious. He's so freaking cute and so funny. And yeah, it was just like a really fun movie about a gang of misfits running around trying to save the day.
Yeah, in the first 10 minutes, there were some, what I felt were like contrived humorous moments. And when the cat came into the film, that's when I found myself really starting to laugh. There was some stuff in the beginning that did make me chuckle a little bit, but it's when the cat entered the film, I was like, oh, this is like really tickling me. There's stuff that just were very, very surprising moments. And I was like, oh, wow, like I didn't see that coming at all.
Yeah.
And so they did a really, really good job with hitting you with surprise beats in the film through the use of the cat robot thing.
The cat robot, so cool.
To what you were talking about in terms of the emotional stuff, I felt that too. It kind of reminded me of Up in that way. I thought that what they did here was cool because it is forcing kids, perhaps families, to deal with some, I guess, for lack of a better word, mature ideas, but not in a way that is overbearing. It's done in order to facilitate the storytelling, but at the same time, it enables the option or the possibility of conversation with your kids, or for kids with kids, not kids with who have kids, but kids and other kids talking. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, for these ideas to percolate, and you kind of think about these larger concepts, because you reach that age where you start to think about, like, oh my gosh, like someday the Earth is going to end. Someday my parents aren't going to be here anymore. You start to think about all these things. Life and death. And I think that the film deals with these topics, and it also deals with like larger science topics that, maybe these kids would not have otherwise thought about. And I think that's super cool. So overall, I'd say that I quite enjoyed it.
It was a lot of fun. It was very, very cute. So if that is your jam, if you just want to go out and see a movie that's going to make you smile, it's going to make you laugh, it's going to make you cry a little bit, but overall just leave you feeling uplifted and joyous, then yeah, this is the one for you.
Yeah, I recommend it.